It's time to power up with spiritual strength. I'm Gene Zanetti, your coast-to-coast spiritual coach. Today we're going to be talking about the virtue of fortitude. Okay, so fortitude is one of the cardinal virtues, and it's made up of 6 integral parts. So there's basically 6 sub-virtues that make up the big virtue of fortitude. Okay, you got to have all 6, otherwise, properly speaking, you cannot say you have the virtue of fortitude. Now, everyone needs the virtue of fortitude, but it's especially proper to men. So both men and women need fortitude, but men especially better have fortitude. We're called to this. So let's go through the 6 integral parts. They are, I'll list them out first, and then we'll explain each one. Magnificence, magnanimity, mortification, perseverance, patience, and longanimity. So let's explain these. So I just learned a lot of these more recently myself, and without a proper understanding of this, we don't know what it means to live a life of fortitude, to have that virtue. So we got to understand all of these. So I won't go through them in the same order I just listed them, but I'll hit on all of them. So first is magnanimity. That means striving for excellence in all things, and especially in great things, which great things obviously mean related to the soul, so to our faith. Okay, this is a big thing that they talk about a lot in Opus Dei, though they don't necessarily speak about it directly, but they talk about excellence in all things. So whatever job you're doing, you're giving it to the Lord, whether it's your vocation, your career, your marriage, the way you wash the dishes, the way you vacuum, the way you treat people, everything. So striving for excellence in all things. That's so important. And again, keeping make sure you make the most important thing the most important thing. So our spiritual life is the most important thing, and then our vocation. So that's got to be there. But even in all things that we do, the way we take care of our room, the way we make our bed, magnanimity, striving for excellence in all things, especially great things. Magnificence. Magnificence is the way we use our wealth. So using our wealth to do great things. Now, of course, with our wealth, you could look at that as our time, our talent, and our treasure, right? So the 3 T's, the way we use our time, our talent, and our treasure is the way we use our wealth. But that's not to undercut. We don't want to downplay the way we use our money, the way we use our excess funds. What are we doing with that? So making sure we're contributing, making sure that we're giving, making sure that we're being liberal in the way that we're helping other people. Okay, so it's not something that it should be mandated on us from other people on the outsides, but from the inside, we should want to give because God gives us everything. So the Lord gave to us liberally, we want to give to others liberally, from our heart and from our own freedom to do so, not because we're being forced to do that. Okay, so that's magnificence, right? Willingness to do great things with our wealth. Number 3 is mortification. Mortification is the willingness to suffer. The willingness to go through difficulty, to basically to suffer. So the simplest way that I always looked at mortification is self-denial, often a self-imposed denial of certain things. So maybe for me it's not putting the sugar in my coffee one day. Maybe some days the sugar, maybe other days not the sugar, right? Or not putting the salt on the food. Some days the salt, some days not the salt, right? Maybe it's I see a cool car flash by, and in my head, I always want to look at the cool car. Maybe some days I don't look at the cool car. So denying yourself sometimes those pleasures is an important thing. It helps us grow spiritually, and it helps us not always answer the call of our appetites. Because we're in a society that teaches us, if you feel it, do it, right? If you want to do it, take it. It's there, it's yours, right? As opposed to, no, remembering that this whole world and everything that we're given is basically given to us on loan. Everything is the Lord's. So sometimes denying ourselves. So mortification is the willingness to suffer. So that's mortifications we give, that we impose on ourselves, but also just our willingness to suffer anything that comes our way. Okay? Perseverance. Perseverance is the willingness to proceed forward doing the arduous. So arduous is something that's difficult. And I really should have started this whole talk with that. That fortitude is the willingness to do the arduous, the willingness to engage in the arduous. Okay, so that's the overall definition of fortitude. I should start with that. But when we're talking about perseverance, it's the willingness to perseverance is the willingness to continue to keep going doing a difficult thing until the end is reached, until we achieve our ends, which be doing, the Lord's will and whatever the task is. So persisting in doing the arduous over time, that would be perseverance. Patience is related to evil. So I know a lot of people use patience in different ways, but the proper use of the term, according to Thomas Aquinas, was the ability to being able to endure evil. So when maybe we're mistreated, and it's not saying we can't speak up for ourselves, but not overdoing it. Patience has to do with us being able to deal with evil well, and and it also has to do with equanimity. So in other words, staying the same, not ups and downs, despite the evils that come our way. Maybe someone insults us, someone slights us. Maybe we're with a bad driver on the road. It would be patience if we don't go crazy behind the wheel. That's a patience, right? And then the final is what do we say? Longanimity. Longanimity, which means longness of soul. And what does that mean? Basically just the ability to await the good. So the ability to wait for the good. So we know that in Romans we hear St. Paul say that the Lord is working all things together for the good, for those who love him, right? So for all of us, God's working everything together for the good. So we have to have the longness of soul, the longanimity to await the good. Okay, so if you look at all those sub-virtues, those integral parts of those sub-virtues, you could call them, they make up the large virtue of fortitude. And you need all of them. Properly speaking, you cannot say you have the virtue of fortitude if you don't have all 6 of those integral parts. Right? So magnificence, mortification, magnanimity, longanimity, perseverance, and patience. All of them. We got to work on them, especially men. We got to step up. We got to pick it up a notch. We've been lied to about what it means to be a man and what our place is. That's something we need to make sure that we really understand. Again, fortitude's for everyone. And fortitude is the willingness to engage in the arduous. So the ability to do difficult things, the willingness to do difficult things. Our society, it's instant popcorn, instant oatmeal, instant this, instant that. And that's good, but we can't allow that to make us soft. And a lot of times that's exactly what it does. All these conveniences, they make us soft. We have to get the fortitude back. And we have to be willing to engage in the arduous. And sometimes the way to do that is through self-imposed fasting, abstinence, mortification, discipline, hard work. So again, we always say this, that you could have everything in this world. You could have all the money, the power, the friends, all the likes on Instagram. But if you don't have spiritual strength, you're weak. God bless you. Make sure you come back. Make sure you share the video. Send it to a friend. Let's build up that virtue of fortitude. God bless you.